လူနေရာရှိတယ်ဆိုရင်လူအရောက်တိုင်းကိုဘယ်သူကဘာကောင်းဘယ်သူကဘာမကောင်းဘူးအဲ့ဒါတွေအကုန်လုံး opinion တွေရှာပြီးတော့ရှိတာအဲ့ရှိတဲ့ဟာလည်းပဲသူက consider opinion မဟုတ်ဘူးကျတဲ့နာအကြောင်းနဲ့အကျိုးနဲ့တွေးထားတဲ့အမြင်မဟုတ်ဘူး automatic opinion အကျင့်ပါလို့လည်းအဲ့လိုဖြစ်နေတာကြိုက်တယ်မကြိုက်ဘူးဟုတ်ဟင်းနေဆိုပါတော့เนาะအစားအသောက်ဆိုခန္ဓာကိုယ်အတွက်ကောင်းတယ်အာဟာရအတွက်ကောင်းတယ်ဒါပေမဲ့မကြိုက်ဘူး you don't have any reason you just don't like it အဝတ်အစားရွေးတယ်ဘယ်အယောင်ရွေးတယ်ဘယ်အယောင်ကြိုက်တယ်ဘယ်အယောင်မကြိုက်ဘူးဒီအယောင်ကိုဒီတရားကိုကြိုက်တယ်ဟိုတရားကျတော့မကြိုက်ပြန်ဘူးအယောင်ကဘယ်အယောင်ကောင်းတယ်မကောင်းဘူးဆိုတာချမ်းမာရေးနဲ့ညီအောင်ရွေးတာတော့မရှိဘူးထင်တယ် In the same way people don't choose their food mostly based on nutrition nowadays people become more conscious of healthy eating but by and large people still judge their food good and bad based on habits that's judgmental mind အကောင်းဆုံးမဝေဖန်နဲ့တတိပဋ္ဌာန်ကသင်ပေးတာဘယ်လိုသင်ပေးလို့ဆိုစိတ်ထဲမှာဒေါသဖြစ်တယ်ဆိုရင်ဒေါသဖြစ်တယ်လို့သိလိုက်အဲ့လိုပဲမကောင်းမှုမပြောနဲ့ဒေါသမဖြစ်ဘူးမေတ္တာဖြစ်နေတဲ့စိတ်ထဲမှာမေတ္တာရှိနေခြင်းဟာငါစိတ်ထဲမေတ္တာရှိတယ်ငါတော်လိုက်တာကောင်းလိုက်တာသွားပြီးတော့အကောင်းဆုံးမဝေဖန်နဲ့ကောင်းတယ်လို့မပြောနဲ့မေတ္တာရှိနေတာကိုသိရင်လုံလောက်ပြီဒေါသရှိနေတာသိလုံလောက်ပြီအဲ့ဒီအတိက तू များလာရင်အတိကတဖြည်းဖြည်းများလာရင်စိတ်ကို तू ဖြူစင်စေတယ်ဒါ non judgmental mindfulness you can't find anything you can't find this in anywhere in any teaching except the Buddha's discourse on mindfulness that's the only place you can find this that is why social anxiety arises maybe due to our judgmental mind habit maybe because of that so if we have a look at that if we pay attention to that we notice our judgmental mind we don't judge our judgmental mind okay we don't judge that we just recognize that we know it's there discernment Professor Kappasen was saying earlier the word here discernment means understanding so we understand the nature of the mind look at the title today resilience through mindful and happy brain happy brain they are less judgmental unhappy brain very judgmental mindful brain less judgmental judgmental mind judgmental brain very unmindful so you can see the opposite qualities this one okay and stay where you are I'm going to lead you in short meditation again you can keep yourself more space okay keep yourself more space I'm going to lead you with another short meditation a different form of meditation yeah set time ကိုနေတဲ့နေရာမှာပဲနေထိုင်တဲ့နေရာထိုင်ဒီလိုဟို circle နဲ့ဆက်ပြီးတော့ထိုင် it's better if you sit in a circle I would prefer that yeah because you feel that you are in a community you need a community so that you don't cut yourself out okay now make yourself comfortable sit upright make yourself comfortable relax your shoulders relax the muscles around your forehead relax the muscles around your back and then gently close your eyes observe breathing in and out as you breathe in slow and gentle count 1 to 3 for each in breath 1, 2, 3 for each breathing in. Each time you breathe in, count 1, 2, 3. Slow and gentle breathing. Be kind to yourself. Your breathing is the hardest working part of your life. It's always working. Even when you sleep, when you walk, when you listen, when you speak, when you eat, when you have a shower, breathing has to work. It can't stop. The moment breathing stops, whatever you do has no meaning anymore. Whatever you have earned has no meaning whatsoever. So recognizing that your breathing is working perfectly well, supplying oxygen to your brain, breathe in and out. A very kind function. Breathing is a very kind function. It supplies oxygen to your heart, and through your heart to the whole body, through veins and arteries, and of course to the brain. If oxygen is no longer supplying to your brain, within a few minutes there will be brain death, there will be a stroke, and life will be in danger. So just appreciate the kindness that is innate, that is natural to this physical body. Enjoy breathing in and out. You don't have to acquire anything. We are not going for concentration. We are not going for any achievement. Instead, we are just here appreciating our own breathing systems. Now, as you did earlier, place one hand on your heart, the other hand on your tummy, embracing any stress, any worry, any anxiety, any difficulty that you may have in life. Breathing in, giving support to yourself. It's okay to have problem. It's okay to have some anxieties. All of us here in this group, in this circle, in my group, everybody has anxiety. Everybody understands problem. We are not strange to problem. We are not strange to confusion. We have ambition. We want to do our best. This means going through anxiety, feeling the beats of your heart. Your heart is still beating, feeling pains and joys of life. With each stress and each anxiety, and sometimes each mild depression, we learn about life. We become mature. It's okay to have a hard time, to have a difficult time. It's okay to have difficult emotion. I'm not judging myself, good or bad. I am not judging myself, good or bad. When I recognize my stress, when I recognize my anxiety, when I recognize my struggle, I become mature. I become a better person. I will not ignore my difficult emotion. Instead, I will mindfully embrace them. I will say hello to them. I will sit down and have a conversation with my own difficult emotion. It's perfectly alright. Sometimes to see our emotion undigested. Sometimes we also become judgmental. That's okay. We don't have to judge our judging mind. A judging mind is like a child. But now I grew up. I accept who I was when I was younger as a child. Everybody was a child and everybody grows up. This is called growth mindset. Our mind is not fixed. Our brain is not fixed. Instead, we make effort to grow, and we grow with the society. We learn from each other. We learn more from some people than the others. Some people, they give us blessings. Some people, they don't know how to do that. So they give us lessons. At first, it was very difficult to take in their comments, their criticism. Partly because they may not know how to express it, partly because our mind may be judgmental and we understand everything. We forgive everything. We forgive ourselves with kindness. We also forgive others with kindness, with non-judgmental awareness, with kindness, with letting go. We become more resilient. We no longer give up easily. We are ready for the day, the week, the month, the year ahead. Okay, you can keep your hands down now. Keep your hands down and go on with another focus. I'm going to ask you to think about something you have done well, you have done your best, and you should be proud of. Something you are proud of. Think about something you are proud of in your life. You put in some effort and you succeeded. Even if you haven't succeeded, if you know you do your best, you're doing your best, you should be proud of your best effort. So think about yourself. ကိုယ်အကောင်းဆုံးကိုယ်ဘဝမှာကိုယ်အကောင်းဆုံးဖြစ်အောင်ကြိုးစားတာပြန်တွေးပါမျက်စိထဲမှာပြန်မြင်အောင်ကြည့်ပါကျောင်းမှာဘယ်အတန်းမှာဘယ်လိုအကောင်းဆုံးဖြစ်အောင်ကြိုးစားခဲ့တယ် Don't compare yourself with anyone. Just be kind to yourself and give yourself sole attention. Give yourself sole attention. Your sole attention. At least once in a lifetime. Be kind to yourself. Just think about something nice in your life. Something to be proud of. As I started in my introduction, people, they remember more what hurts. Not so much what they should be proud of. ကိုဘဝမှာခုံယူစရာတွေပြန်တွေးပါကိုကြိုးစားပြီးတော့ညာကိုတောက်လျှောက်ကြိုးစားခဲ့တာ The Dangarea Sabido, Kuchainti, Jonda Jondu is winning, thou shalt choose again. Sia Mari, tea time. The choke, long and when they are me. Go teeth loud, go tat loud. A chain, go accounts of choose again. Counario bear. เพราะว่าအခြေခံဖြစ်တည်ဆောက်နိုင်တယ်နော်အသုံးပြုနိုင်စိတ်မကျေနပ်မှုဒေါသအဲ့ဒါတွေကိုအခြေခံဘဝရဲ့အခြေခံလုပ်လို့မရဘူး You can only build foundation on positive things ဒီလိုကောင်းတာတွေးခြင်းအပြင်ကိုယ့်ရဲ့အုတ်နောက်ကိုပျော်ရွှင်တတ်အောင်ကိုလုပ်ပေးတယ်လေ့ကျင့်ပေးတယ် It's something like you go to a gym and you do a workout. This time for your brain. The way to do that is to reconnect with your past, where you did your best. Okay, we can stop here. You can open your eyes now. We're going to watch another video about 6 minutes. This video is by a professor from Yale University in America, one of the Ivy League universities, and she was talking to business people at the World Economic Forum in Davos, in Switzerland. That's about mindfulness and how mindfulness changes our brain and offers us resilience. Okay, we have a look at this.
One of the things that seems to stand in our way of being happy is that shit happens. Now, this is actually the common denominator for all human experience. The fact is that even if we are the luckiest, most effective people on the planet, life sometimes deviates from our plan. And it's just like the Rolling Stones said, you can't always get what you want. And that can be quite stressful. But of course, you all know that shit happens. What is less well known is that we also all have the power to change our experience of this shit, to train and learn how to have a better attitude about it, and how to suffer less through really anything that might happen to us. Today I'm going to show you evidence that this kind of training can not only make you feel better, it can also change the way that your brain works. And the key practice I'm going to talk about is a practice of mindfulness. Now, mindfulness is rooted in ancient Buddhist traditions that are aimed at the cessation of suffering. It's actually part of a system of practices that include things like loving kindness, generosity, and compassion, and it's cultivated through the practice of mindfulness meditation. In a secular context, mindfulness has actually been studied for over 30 years, and many scientists, including me, think about it as a two-component process, where the first component is attention that is oriented to this present moment, to whatever is happening to you, so you can engage with your life. The second component is attitude, and it's attitude that's open, it's curious, and it's accepting of this moment exactly as it is. And one classic instruction is to pay attention on purpose and without judgment. Or in the words of the Beatles, you just let it be. Now, why might training like this be useful? Well, one reason is because most of us are incredibly distracted pretty much all the time, and we miss a lot of what's happening to us. One study showed that our minds are actually wandering almost 50% of the time and during every single activity, even during sex. And what's worse is that mind wandering is actually related to being unhappy. And that suggests that being mindful in itself might make you happier. And it leaves you a lot more time and energy to act wisely and make good decisions. That means that being mindful allows you to respond to the world rather than react to it. And how does mindfulness do that? Well, one way it does it is by altering the brain's defaults. That is a default mode network, and you can think of it as our autopilot. It's a network of regions that's more active when our mind is spontaneously wandering and less active when we're focused on a task. And to test whether mindfulness meditation alters these defaults, we recruited experienced mindfulness meditators, not Buddhist monks, but healthy Western adults who just happened to meditate for many years, kind of like me. And we then scanned their brains using fMRI and compared their brain activity to the brain activity of well-matched controls who've never meditated. What we found is that experienced meditators actually report a significant lower amount of mind wandering and less activity and connectivity in their default mode network. Does it mean that you all need to practice many, many years to change your defaults? Apparently not. Much less training already starts changing your defaults. In one study, stressed adults were recruited and randomized into one of two conditions. They either did intensive mindfulness training for 3 days or 3 days of a control training. The results showed that even after 3 days of intensive mindfulness training, there were already some similar changes to the default mode network that were similar to what we saw with the experienced meditators. In addition, those who meditated also showed a reduction in an inflammation marker that is related to disease risk. In comparison, those who did the control training actually showed an increase in this inflammation marker. In addition, the default mode network actually was responsible for some of the reduction in inflammation. This suggests that mindfulness training changes your brain, it changes your emotional experience, and it changes your body in a way that makes you more resilient to stress and disease. And there's even more good news here. You might start noticing some of the benefits of mindfulness meditation as soon as the first time that you try. We tested this in a few recent studies. We recruited individuals who've never meditated, and we randomized them to either meditate for 10 minutes for the first time or do a control activity for 10 minutes. We then tested their performance on a task that required both accuracy and speed. What we found is that those individuals who meditated for the first time overall were faster or more accurate than those who didn't meditate. And we also saw changes in brain activity that suggested that their brains are more attuned to the task, allowing them to perform better. What this means is that in the time that it might take you to just briefly check your email, you might try to meditate for 10 minutes and you might have an improvement in your cognitive performance. So in conclusion, I invite you to ask yourself, do I want to be more focused? Do I want to be more present? Do I want to have more time and energy to act wisely and make good decisions? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you might want to try mindfulness meditation. Now, mindfulness is not for everyone and it's not a panacea, but we know that it can fundamentally alter your brain's defaults. We know that it can reduce your stress and make you more focused. And importantly, it can allow you to live in this moment, accepting it exactly as it is, maybe even loving it exactly as it is, even if shit happens. Thank you very much.
Part2 also happiness alters brain. အုံနောက်ကိုပြောင်းလဲစေတယ်10 မိနစ်တရားထိုင်တာတော့မှပြောင်းလဲစေတယ်အထူးသဖြင့်တော့3 ရက်တရားထိုင်အုံနောက်ပြောင်းတယ်အခုမှဖုန်းနဲ့သတိရမိတယ်ဘယ်ရိတ်တာပဲသွားပထမဆုံး3 ရက်ဆိုရင်ယောဂီတွေကထွက်ပြေးခြင်း3 ရက်ကြော်သွားဖြစ်ရင် relax ဖြစ်လာရိတ်တာမှာကျတော့ဘုန်းတော့အဲ့ဒီသူတို့အသုံးပြတဲ့ fMRI machine ဆိုတော့နောက်ဆုံးပုံ machine အဲ့ဒါမရှိဘူးသူတို့ကျတော့အဲ့ဟာရှိခါကျတော့အုံနောက်ကို scan လုပ်ကြည့်တာအုံနောက်ပြောင်းသွား So mindful brain is happy brain wandering mind is an unhappy mind Google ထဲမှာရှာကြည့်နေတယ် unhappy mind ဒီ web တွေပါ wandering mind is unhappy mind you will see an article scientific article most of the time about 47% you are at work you are working but your mind is wandering about half of the time so the performance is not that good so to test speed and accuracy they test just 10 minutes ask people to meditate for 10 minutes and the speed and the accuracy is better. The time you take to respond to a customer or to communicate your ideas to your colleagues, your friends. If you're not mindful, if you don't know how to handle your stress, your feeling, it will take you a long time to get a task done. As a result, you don't have time for yourself, you don't have time to relax. When you don't relax, then stress remains unresolved. So the loop goes on. That's what happened to many people. In Burmese we say then they are led. That's a loop. Then they are dima led. Say lo a low loader pool needed. A low loader pool nilo a nayu po che say go piamiro. Oh, recharge low me che machine. A little bit than they are late. A stress go, Jao you lie. A logo you lie. ဒီလောက stress တွေအိမ်ပြန်ယူသွားတယ် door to door okay you only pay attention to stressful things so today I hope to change that I have to change that I want you to focus on the good thing that you have in your life that you do in your life ကောင်းတာတွေပြန်တွေးကောင်းတာတွေးရဆိုရင် your mind is at the present moment 2A attention and attitude attention auto စိတ်က automatic မလုပ်တာလုပ်သမျှစိတ်က तू ဘာလုပ်နေဆို तू က तू သိနေတယ်အဲ့ဒါ being present at the present moment being at the present moment doesn't mean you can't think about the past you can't plan for the future no when you are thinking if you know you are thinking that means you are at the present moment the Buddha he knows thousands of lives about past lives but he is an example of somebody who is embodied with the present moment living so that's attention that means we know what we are doing in English the present continuous tense grammatical present continuous tense what we know what we are feeling we know what we are doing attitude that's non-judgmental not always thinking in terms of like and dislike good bad not in that term yeah. But rather to connect with something properly. So when you eat today, when you go back home, when you have your dinner, for each bite, trying to chew about 25 times. When you chew that, okay, that many times, you will get bored. If you feel bored, if you can connect with that boredom, oh, this is boredom. This is rejection of this food. The first bite looks delicious. Second bite, less so. Why? The quality of the food hasn't changed. What has changed? Your attitude. Your attitude towards the food has changed. The same wonderful dish, you can't take it for 2 days, 3 days. You hate it. Why you hate it? The nutrition, okay, in the food is still good for your body. Your body still requires that. But the judgmental mind has already rejected that. Judgmental mind has limited ability to enjoy life. If we keep this flower, okay, at home, just only this flower, no other colors. After 2 or 3 days, you won't look at that. You want a different color. So we live and we think we flourish in distraction. We have to keep distracting ourselves. And if we have to keep changing these flowers, it costs money. It costs money. I don't change my robe, it's the same color, so it doesn't cost. I know you all are very costly people because you keep changing every day, more than once a day. I feel, you know, I really feel for you. Maybe you feel for me too. That I live a boring life. But boring, not boring, is all about judgmental, being judgmental. Yeah. So this video clip talks about attention and attitude. Some of you may have heard the Pali word. Attention is the deep. Attitude here is translated as Thambasin, the deep Thambasin. But if I use the Pali word, the Burmese word, you know, you wouldn't understand. it's a lot easier to use attention and attitude. So these are the two qualities that we have to pay attention to, and then we change our brain. The good news is that we can improve our brain. Okay. With this position, with this, is in a small group circle like this, I like to do maybe about 6 or 7 minutes of reflection, and then you get back to your place. Okay. Okay, we do another short meditation. This time is called positive reinforcement. Positive reinforcement meditation. You're going to think about all the good things in your life. Stay with that good feeling. If you found one, think about something that you have done, you have put in a lot of effort, you have come through that, you have succeeded. So think about something you can be proud of. Keep yourself about 3 to 4 minutes thinking about this. You deserve to pay attention to yourself, because you have been working very hard in your life. I think about how I started learning English when I was about 18. Started learning A, B, C. We didn't have many books in the market. If there were some, I wouldn't be able to afford them. It's all pen and paper. I use them, and that has helped me to be somewhere. Just think about your life, how you always do your best. Keep your body straight, your head straight. Make sure that your breathing is sufficiently supplying oxygen to your brain with nice and gentle breathing. You think about how you always do your best. Of course, you cannot judge yourself. If you are 20, you cannot judge yourself. As a 20 years old, with 20 years old insight, judging your 15 years old self, that 5 years gap means a big difference in maturity. If you look at yourself as a 15 years old, you will find there's a lot to be proud of. Be kind to yourself. Appreciate your hard work. Don't expect recognition from other people. They wouldn't have time for you. Even your parents, they can only dedicate some of their times to recognizing the good work you do, your best work. Not that your parents don't have much time recognizing your work. Actually, you don't also have a lot of time to appreciate your parents' work, how hard they work in their life, your teachers too. So make sure that you give due recognition to your own hard work. Forget everything else for now. ကိုဘဝမှာကောင်းတာတွေအများကြီးရှိတယ်။အဲဒီကောင်းတာတွေကိုပြန်တွေးတဲ့အလေးချင်းလေးလုပ်ပါ။စိုးရင်စရာကြတော့တတိပေးဖို့တော့မလိုဘူး။လှုပ်သွားတွေးတယ်။ကောင်းတာကြတော့တွေးဖို့အတွက်ကိုယ့်ကိုမနှဲတတိပေးရတယ်။ဒါကြောင့်အကျင့်လုပ်ပါ။အကျင့်ပါပဲလေ့ကျင့်ရ။ကောင်းတာတွေးတဲ့အကျင့်။ကိုဘဝမှာကိုဘယ်လိုတွေကြိုးစားခဲ့လဲနှစ်တန်းသုံးတန်းကလေးလေးလည်းပဲ သူ KG အောင်လာတယ်တက်တန်းအောင်ထားတယ်နှစ်တန်းအောင်ထားတယ်သူမှလည်းဂုဏ်ယူစရာအများကြီး In the meantime, if your mind gets distracted to something worrying, something you feel dissatisfied about, then you should bring it back to the main focus, which is a good thing. Let's expand this feeling, this exercise, by recognizing somebody close to you. Choose somebody you feel close to, and appreciate that person's hard work. Just extend appreciation to that person. Given the circumstances, that person always does their best. Just try to think about that person. Choose someone you know well, you feel good about, and then appreciate that person. You are now extending your appreciation capacity outward. ကိုယ်နဲ့ယဉ်နေတဲ့လူကိုယ်နဲ့အကျွမ်းဝင်တဲ့လူအစဉ်ပြေတဲ့လူတယောက်ရွေးပြီးတော့သူ့ကြိုးစားမှုအတိမတ်ပြုပေးပါသူဘယ်လိုကြိုးစားတယ်ဆိုတာအသေးစိတ်ကိုသိတဲ့ဟာလေးကျအတိမတ်ပြုပေးပါဒါကသူ့အတွက်မဟုတ်ဘူးเนาะကိုတွေးနေတာကိုအုံနောက်ကောင်းတဲ့အုံနောက် happy brain အဲ့ဒီဟာ exercise လုပ်ပေးနေတာတခါကျတော့တခြားလူကြိုးစားတဲ့တခြားလူတယောက်ကိုတွေးတဲ့အခါမှာသူ့ကြိုးစားမှုကိုအတိမတ်ပြုမဲ့အစားသူ့ကြိုးစားမှုကြည့်ပြီးတော့ကိုယ်စိတ်ထဲမှာကြောက်စိတ်ဖြစ်တယ် You feel threatened when you see somebody working hard, making progress. That's fear. Because our fear center, the fear center in our brain, receive a lot of attention and is very good doing its work. Now we have to change that. We have to make the happy center of the brain is called hippocampus area. We have to make that center stronger, more active. Now တငယ်ချင်းတယောက်အကြောင်းဆက်တွေးပါအောင်။နောက်တငယ်ချင်းတယောက်သူဘယ်လိုကြိုးစားလဲဆိုတော့အတိမတ်ပြုပေးပါ။ Think about another friend. Think about their best effort. How they do their best. Through our best effort, we contribute to the society. When we make our life a success, we contribute to the society. Contribution doesn't mean you give something in monetary term or in kinds. I don't mean that here. I mean being a successful person in society, not a failure. You are already a contribution to the society. Your success in itself is a contribution. A successful society comprises successful individuals. Don't compare yourself with anyone. If you do, please compete with problems, not with people. We have many problems facing the society, facing humanities. We can use those problems as our motivation to work hard, to work harder. Okay, now as a start, you have already trying to connect or reconnect with your strength, and with the strength, with the positive points of your friends. Now we're going to have a look at another video clip, the last one. This is Hardwiring Happiness. Happiness, okay, we all know it, but we don't know how to maintain, how to sustain it. And this video will tell you how to do that. There's a book called Hardwiring Happiness, written by Dr. Rick Hanson from University of California, Berkeley. He is a Buddhist meditation teacher, a neuropsychologist. Okay, please have a look at this.
Wow. So what I want to do here, if I could, is share with you a very simple yet powerful method grounded in neuroscience for turning passing experiences into lasting structure, useful structure inside our brain. In other words, turning experiences into the happiness or the resilience or the other inner strengths that we really want inside ourselves. I sort of stumbled on this method when I was in college, but to explain the context, I have to take you back a little before into my own up and down childhood. So I grew up in a loving home, good parents, intact family, but I was very, very young going through school. I have a late birthday and I skipped a grade. And that combined with my kind of shy and seriously dorky temperament, you know, skinny, glasses, picked last for baseball, the whole thing. Well, what it led to were lots of experiences of being left out or put down by the other kids in school. Now, what happened to me was very small compared to, unfortunately, what happens to many, many other people. But we all have normal needs to feel cared for, to feel cared about. We're the most profoundly social species on the planet. You know, as we evolved in the Serengeti, exile was a death sentence. Causes have effects. And if we don't get the supplies that we need, bit by bit, it's kind of like we're living on a thin soup. You can survive, you can make it, but there's a hollowness and emptiness inside. In my own case, hopefully this will work, yes, I ended up with lots of bad thoughts and feelings inside of me as a result. Then I went off to college, and I began to notice something really powerful and interesting. You know, some small good thing would happen. You know, a girl would smile at me in the elevator, some guy would throw me the football, an intramural football, and say, "Good catch, Henson." You know, that was really good. Or guys would invite me to go out for pizza, you know, basic stuff of everyday life. And then I would have an experience, right? I would feel a little included, or a little wanted, a little appreciated. Then the question is, what would I do with that experience? If I dealt with it like I usually did, which was to kind of ignore it, you know, let it pass along, you know, I kept feeling lonely and inadequate. But I began to notice that if I did something different, if I stayed with it a dozen or so seconds in the row, it felt like something was gradually coming into me that was actually good. And I began feeling better and better and better and more confident. Any single time I did this, wasn't a mind-blowing moment. I had a few of those through other means. But the good things really did add up over time for me, definitely. And now, years later, many years later, as a neuropsychologist, I began to understand what I was actually doing. It wasn't just changing my mind. I was actually changing my brain. That's because, as the neuroscientists say, neurons that fire together wire together. Passing mental states become lasting neural traits. Bit by bit, I was actually weaving these resources into the fabric of my brain and therefore my life. There are many examples of the ways in which mental activity can change brain structure. For example, taxi cab drivers in London at the end of their training have a thicker brain in a key part called the hippocampus that does visual spatial memory. In a different kind of example, I don't know if anybody in here experiences stress, right, occasionally. Well, if we have the experience of stress, That releases cortisol in the body. It goes up into the brain. Cortisol gradually stimulates the alarm bell of the brain, the amygdala, so it rings more loudly and more quickly, and cortisol weakens. It actually kills neurons in the hippocampus, which besides doing visual spatial memory, calms down the amygdala and calms down stress altogether. So this mental experience of stress, especially if it's chronic and moderate to severe, gradually changes the structure of the brain, so we become progressively more sensitive to stress. All right. The mind can change the brain to change the mind. Knowing this is really valuable because the inner strengths, to go back to the beginning of my story here, the inner strengths that we all want, happiness, positive emotion, determination, feeling loved, confidence, the virtues, the executive functions, those are all built out of the brain. The question is how to actually get them into the brain. The interesting thing is that most of the wholesome qualities of mind and heart that help us cope with life, including coping with hard things, and have a lot inside ourselves to give to other people, most of those inner strengths are built from positive experiences of those strengths. If you want to feel more confident, for example, have more experiences of accomplishment or coping. If you want to have a more loving heart, practice more moments of compassion or kindness for others. The problem is that to get these experiences into our brain, we have to overcome the brain's hardwired negativity bias. This negativity bias means that the brain is very good at learning from bad experiences, but bad at learning from good ones. In other words, good experiences kind of bounce off the brain unless we do a little thing that I'm going to tell you about in a moment. Meanwhile, bad experiences sink right in. The reason for the negativity bias is that our ancestors had to pay a lot of attention to bad news, because if they survived it, they had to remember it forever, right? Once burned, twice shy. These days, we have ordinary experiences of this. Think about a relationship you're in, right, with someone you live with, work with, sleep with, whatever. You know, let's say 10 things happen in a day with that person. 5 of them are positive, 4 are neutral, 1 is negative. Which is the one we tend to think about as we go to sleep? Right? That's why a lot of studies show that a good long-term relationship typically needs at least a 5-to-1 ratio of positive to negative interactions. That's a cautionary tale, right? All right. So that's the negativity bias. It creates a fundamental bottleneck in the brain that creates a weakness in both informal efforts and formal efforts to grow, to heal, to train ourselves in different ways. You know, whether you're a psychologist like me or a meditation teacher like me or a corporate trainer, a coach, a parent, I'm also a parent with my wife, or you're trying to help people in one way or another, we tend to be very good at activating positive mental states. But are we very good at helping people install them in the brain? I don't think so. There's been this long-standing assumption that if we just get a good thing going, somehow it will sink in. What can we do? We can learn to take in the good, to pop open this bottleneck in the brain, and gradually weave good experiences into the fabric of our brain and our life. So I thought we could actually do it here right now. Something experiential, all right? It is Marin County. You know, I thought we could go for it. So we'll just try it right now. It's a little weird, a little artificial. Why not? All right, just go for it. So I'll take you through this kind of informally, then I'll explain what we just did. So if you could, bring to mind someone that you know cares about you. It could be a pet, could be a group of people, could be a person in your life, in your past. It doesn't really matter. What you're trying to do is have a good experience, a simple good experience of feeling cared about. You're trying to help the idea of this person or the image or a memory become a feeling. Okay, want to try? And then once you get it going, you're moving out of concept to experience. Stay with it. It's kind of a critical mass of time, a threshold. Things have to last long enough in our experience to transfer from short-term memory buffers to long-term storage, including emotional learning. And meanwhile, you could sense that this experience is going into you. You're absorbing it. It's sinking into you, feeling loved as you sink into it. A simple moment, 10, 20 seconds. usually won't change our life. But bit by bit, it can really make an enormous difference. I'd like to tell you the little steps of taking in the good. They're very simple. I even have a clever acronym that you can use to remember them. Our daughter thought of the last word of the acronym, very important, so I want to give her credit. So, in the first step, have a good experience. We've got to activate it. We've got to get it going, right? The brain is like an old school cassette recorder. It records the music by playing it. We have to have an experience. In the second step, enrich the experience. Help install this activated mental state into your brain as a neural trait. Let it last, help it grow in your body, help it become increasingly intense. Give yourself over to it. And in the third step of taking in the good, absorb it. Sense and intend that it's sinking into you. This will prime memory systems. This will sensitize them so they'll be more efficient at encoding the experience into neural structure. And then, if you want to, the optional step is to link the positive experience with something negative. You got to be a little careful about this because you don't want to be hijacked by the negative. But if you can stay strong with the positive, it will gradually associate with the negative. Neurons that fire together wire together. And it'll go into the negative to soothe it, ease it, even gradually replace it. And you can use this step of taking in the good, where you're linking positive and negative, for yourselves or for children or for clients, students, or others you care about. You can use this method to heal old pain or neglect, whether in adulthood or childhood, even reaching down into young parts of yourself. To kind of sum it up here, we have 4 steps that become an acronym HEAL, H-E-A-L. It's an easy way to remember it. Have it, all right? Enrich the experience to begin installing it in your brain once it's activated in your mind. Absorb it, and if you like, link it, so it really becomes a part of you. Now, this may seem a little complicated. We all know how to take in the good. We all know how to help some good life lesson land, some good experience with other people. We know how to let these things land. In a nutshell, this whole thing boils down to, all my verbiage here, to 4 words. Have it and enjoy it, right? Especially enjoy it so it becomes a part of you. This is not about covering over negative truths, right? Paradoxically, the more we take in the good, we're more able to see the bad and do something about it. In fact, this is about taking control of the brain's Stone Age bias, right, in the 21st century, to excessively focus on the bad and over-worry about it, right? Any single time we do it isn't going to change our life, but the gradual accumulation, both in the flow of our day and at special times if we want to, like at meals or at nighttime before bed or after meditating or a workout, we can gradually build this up inside ourselves. I think of it as the law of little things, right? It's usually lots of little bad things that take us to a bad place. And it's lots of little good things that take us to a better one. There's a saying they have in Tibet. I think about it often. They say, if you take care of the minutes, the years will take care of themselves. I find that so hopeful, isn't it? Right? What's the most important minute in your life? It's the next one. Right? Can't do anything about the past. A few minutes into the future, we start losing a lot of influence. But the next minute is a phenomenal opportunity for us. Like me back in college, or any one of us today, or over the course of this evening, what will we do with the most important minute in our life? Right? And especially, what will we do with the good that's authentically available to us in it? Will we waste it, or will we, a few times a day, or even more, actually take it into ourselves? For me, there's a Buddhist saying that really speaks to the heart of the opportunity in the most important minute of our life. It goes like this: do not think lightly of good, saying, it will not come to me. Drop by drop is the water pot filled. Likewise, the wise one, gathering it little by little, fills oneself with good. So, may you and I and all beings everywhere, little by little, fill ourselves with good. So, thank you.
This video is from this book, Hardwiring Happiness. Okay, it's from this book. You have a longer lecture on YouTube. The order is also the order of the Buddha's praying. This is the Buddha's saying that he quotes at the end. This one, okay. Think not lightly of good. When something good is, we become judgmental. It's too small, too insignificant. We don't pay attention to it. We think it will not come to me. It will not come true, or it's insignificant like that. Look here, drop by drop is the water pot filled. Drop by drop. If that drop is negative emotion, if that drop is anxiety, your brain will be filled with negative emotions. If that drop is a positive drop, then your brain will be energized. The good hormone will kill off the bad ones, just as anxiety kills off happy brain. The wise one gathering the good little by little, fill oneself with good. The Dhammappada is one of the famous textbooks in the Buddhist scriptures. And another one, can you read it? Is it possible? It's okay. The HEAL. Okay, how to heal. We need healing on daily basis. We need to heal physically. We need to heal emotionally. If we can heal, okay, both physically and psychologically as an individual, the society will heal itself. We won't be in any crisis, not for long. So healing is important. Then the way to do that is to think about good experiences, to stay with that, to pay more attention to that. So when you eat slowly, chew more times. Okay. When you change in the morning, okay, take time to appreciate your clothes, the top that you put on. How many people make effort to make this piece of clothes? Some people design the color, some people design the fabric, some people transport that, some people market that. Some people, some computer graphic, they work on something. Some banker, investor, many people, they put some work into that. It becomes a piece of clothes that you put on. If you take maybe about a minute to appreciate them in the morning, you're quite happy with what you wear. You don't need approval from someone else. Nowadays, when you choose what to wear in the morning, your mind is whether people will approve this. You create your anxiety, your own anxiety. So have positive experience, we already have it, plenty of it, but we don't stay with that. We need to stay with that and absorb it. That means talk about that, think about that, write in your journal, in your diary, and later with the same issue, on the same issue, after you have thought through about many good things about that, you can also acknowledge the harsh thing, the painful thing about that. That will bring healing to you. Let's do, last 5 minutes, this exercise. Think about your food. Okay, any meal, maybe your breakfast, your lunch. Think about how it comes about. Think about the people who grow them. Think about people who process them and who transport them, who put them in the market, who make sure that everybody can afford that. Okay, just think about your food for 5 minutes. Okay, ကိုယ်အစားအသောက်အကြောင်းပြန်တွေးပါအဲ့ appreciate လုပ်ပေးပါ9 မိနစ်စာအဲ့ဒီအစားအသောက်လုပ်တာလူတွေဘယ်နှယောက်ပါတော့ကိုယ်အကုန်လုံးမသိနိုင်ကော်ဖီတောက်ရင်အဲ့ကော်ဖီစိုက်ပျိုးတဲ့လူ process လုပ်တဲ့လူသူတွေနာလုပ်တဲ့လူတဲကိုပို့ဆောင်ပေးတဲ့လူဘေးကင်းအောင် safe ဖြစ်အောင်ကြည့်ရှုပေးတဲ့ကျမ်းမာရေးဝန်ထမ်းတွေကော်ဖီခွက်တီထွင်တဲ့လူတွေတရားဖြစ်အောင်နော်တရားထုတ်လုပ်တဲ့လူတွေအဲ့ဒီမှာ note ထဲ note ဘယ်နဲ့လာ just appreciate that this will change your brain this will change your brain အဲ့ဒီထဲမှာ let's sit me ရအောင် let's sit me တီထွင်တဲ့လူတွေဝါရတီထွင်တဲ့လူတွေအမျိုးမျိုးအဲ့ဒီမှာတို့ပါတယ်ကိုကော်ဖီထဲမှာလေရေလဲပါတယ်အဝီစီနဲ့ဆိုရင်အဝီစီဆက်တီထွင်တဲ့လူသူတွေနာလုပ်တဲ့လူထုတ်လုပ်တဲ့လူတဲကိုပို့ဆောင်တဲ့လူရေတွင်တကယ်တူးတဲ့လူ for us just a tiny amount of water we feel insignificant but in that water you will see the best efforts by many people in many lands throughout many generations. They make our life comfortable. Your effort is there in that coffee, in that dish, in that food. Your effort is there. The effort by your loved ones, they are part of it. Just one more minute. Trying to connect with all the good things in your life. You can take a cup of coffee as an example, cup of tea, glass of water, a piece of cloth, a bus ride, anything. If you pay attention with the right attitude to a right attention and right attitude, with enjoying a cup of coffee, cup of tea, can make your brain happier and as a result more resilient. You don't need excitement to be happy. Actually, many people cannot distinguish between happiness and excitement. Nothing exciting lasts longer. Instead, it's more expensive because you have to repeat that with something new. Not with the same thing, not with the same experience, not the same sight, same sound. Okay, thank you. You can open your eyes now. As a conclusion, what I want to tell you today is look at the title, Mindfulness and Happiness and Brain. Okay, some brain, they have the habit, a very strong habit of creating negative emotions. And we can change that. We have seen in the video clip, although mindfulness derives from the Buddhist teaching, it has been verified, tested and verified in the scientific community at top universities in the world. So we can change our brain. To change our brain, we have to be more positive, to think about good things, to stay with good feeling. If we do that, resilience will be there as a result. Thank you for your attention.
အဆိုဆရာတော်ဘုရားကြီးသာသနာရေးနှင့်ပညာရေးလုပ်ငန်းများအတွက်လှူဒန်းငွေ The Space Language Academy မိသားစုမှအလှူငွေ750 The Space Language Academy ဤကျောင်းအောင်ဆရာမဒေါ်မေမောင်မှအလှူငွေ750တရားပွဲအပိယတ်မှနဝကာမလှူဒန်းငွေကျပ်4,600,000ကျပ်ကပ်လှူလိုပါတယ်ဗျာဆရာတော်ဘုရားမှလက်ခံပေးပါရန်ပန်ကြားအပ်ပါသည် The Space Language Academy ကျောင်းသားကျောင်းသူများနဲ့ဆရာဆရာမများမှလည်း KB နဲ့ဗန်များမှလည်းလက်ဆင့်လှူဒန်းငွေများ Jasmine Palace Hotel ဤတရားသဖြင့်အလှူနေရာ Forever Wedding Studio ဤဗီဒီယိုရိုက်ကူးရေးနဲ့မှတ်တမ်းအလှူစသည့်ကောင်းမှုအဆူဆူတို့အတွက်ရေစက်သွန်းချအမျှဝေပေးပါရန်ဆရာတော်ဘုရားထံပန်ကြားအပ်ပါသည်
Nibbanata Visio Hotu Dhatu 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 Isa Chamena Samisa A Kono Lai Su Chamena A Shimpaya Yanme Yaku A Shimpaya U Sang Hui Legend Ato Resilience through mindful and happy brain အမည်ရှိသောတရားတော်ကိုအကြောင်းပြု၍ဒါနကုသိုလ်သီလကုသိုလ်ဝေယဝိသကုသိုလ်ဘာဝနာကုသိုလ်ဤကုသိုလ်ကောင်းမှုအဆုစုတို့ကိုစေတနာသုံးတန်ဖြာထမ်း၍ဆောင်ရွက်ကြပါကုန်၏ပွားများကြပါကုန်၏ဤကုသိုလ်ကောင်းမှုမြတ်ပေါင်းစုကြောင့်ဖျားတပည့်တော်တို့သည်ဘေးကင်းရန်กว่าကျမ်းမာချမ်းသာကြပါစေဘေးကင်းရန်กว่าကျမ်းမာချမ်းသာကြပါစေကျမ်းမာချမ်းသာစွာဖြင့်မိမိကောင်းကျိုးအများကောင်းကျိုးတို့၍တေဘုဆံရနိုင်ပါစေကိုယ်တွင်ကိုယ်ပါအိမ်တွင်အိမ်ပါဖြည်တွင်ဖြည်ပါကျဲပြန့်သာသနာပြုနိုင်ပါစေကုသိုလ်အားလုံးဤအဖို့ပါကကိုယခုဘဝရှေးဘဝဒေါ်စัจจသောအမိအဖအဖို့အဖွာဆရာသမားဆွေမျိုးညာတကားအစာထား၍30ဘုံကျင်လည်ကြကုန်သောဝိနည်းသတ္တဝပေါင်းတို့အားအမြဘေးဝေငှပါ၏အမြဘေးဝေငှပါ၏အမြရ၍ကိုယ်စိတ်နှပြချမ်းမာချမ်းသာရှိကြပါစေသောကုသိုလ်အမြတ်ယူတော်မူကြပါကုန်တော်သာဓုကုသိုလ်အမြတ်ယူတော်မူကြပါကုန်သာဓုကုသိုလ်အမြတ်ယူတော်မူကြပါကုန်တော်သာဓု